we're here. Or, as it always is, just me, I'm here. So it's a snow day today for me, which is why I'm here in the middle of the day. And it's not snowing out. It is raining out. It's windy. And I live on the ocean, so it's going to be high tide in about 2 hours. So we'll have flooding. We'll have the ocean in our yard. Today, everybody will be an oceanfront property. But I thought we'd talk about PBIS. Oh my gosh, guys, what is going on right here? Okay, so I just dyed my hair, and now it's like has all these weird, crazy things. I think some people come and like get themselves all beautiful and you have makeup on and your hair's not on top of your head. I think if you know me well enough, you know that something big's happening if I have makeup on and my hair's done, and I just that's not how I roll. I roll with sweatshirt and leggings and my hair on top of my head and no makeup. Getting dressed up and putting makeup on doesn't make me better at my job, I guess. I don't really know. So let's talk about all things PBIS. So where do we start? And then let's dip into my universal toolbox of how to like do something different, right? So when I am mad about PBIS or clip charts or Class Dojo where you get the points and the monsters or any sort of sticker chart or token board or where you get points and then you can go to an assembly or where there's a claw machine or where there's a book vending machine or where you get like a little trinket toy or where there's a prize box or any of those things, first of all, don't work. When you say, but my kids love it, that's not true. And they work, also not true. So I used to try to circumvent around that. People would be like, oh, but it works and my kids love it. And I used to be like, well. And you know what? Both of those things aren't true. The kids probably love you and they don't want to upset you. And that's a brave kid to say, I don't like this to your face when it's in your class and they have to stay in your class. There's rarely a kid that would say that. And the kid that probably did say it is probably why you have the clip chart out. So then people say, well, what should we do instead then? Then if you don't like any, I get this. I know that the attitude doesn't come with the text. Like I can't hear the attitude, but I actually can hear the attitude of people like, well, if we can't use those things, what do we do instead? And know that I was a teacher. I also use them. I also know that some of them are mandatory. I also know it's what you learned in class. I also know that if you don't use those, you don't know what else to do. I know all those things are true. So what do you do instead? And if you've seen me before or heard me before, I say this so often, that's the wrong question. Because if you ask me that question, you want my answer to be another Pinterest strategy, another behavior game. And I just change the points to stickers or stickers to tokens or tokens to tickets or tickets to clips and then I have a new prize. So that's the wrong question because the answer, you want my answer to be another Pinterest strategy. The right answer, the right question is, what do I need to do? What do I need to know? What new information do I need so I know what to do instead? And that is where we have to go with this. We can't just go with, okay, so we can't do that. So there's no consequences. I get that all the time. I was like, it's not reward kids with parties and leave kids out. And it's bad for neurodivergent kids. It's bad for neurotypical kids. It's bad for kids who have experienced trauma. It's not trauma informed. You don't use any consequences. Those are like far away from each other. Of course, there's consequences. Teaching logical and natural consequences are best. So we need new information, right? And I've done some recent YouTube lives on we need new information on neuroaffirming. What does neuroaffirming mean? And what information is neuroaffirming? What strategies are neuroaffirming? And where do I get that, right? Do I have to be trained in that? Can I? And I think neuroaffirming is a lot easier, or it was for me, a lot easier than I thought it would be. Just hang out in lots of the neurodiverse communities and they tell you what they need. And you know what? And then I write them down. And then when I meet kids with similar brains, I ask them, they say yes or no, and I adjust my strategy. I mean, if you can actively listen to what kids need and then try to find a way to get those things done. And it's not like you have to do this huge big thing. Sometimes it's really little and minuscule. For one kid, I had to fight way harder than I wanted to, but for one kid, you know what it was? He just needed to not go to the cafeteria. There was anxiety all the way to the cafeteria. There was anxiety in the cafeteria. It took him a while to get over it after the cafeteria. Like if you just, and I said, well, but I don't know if there's people or like a space to go. And he's like, can't I just go? When kids are bad, that's what he said. When kids are bad, they just go eat lunch in the office. Can I just go eat lunch in the office? I was like, I'll ask. Went to the office. I asked her, like, the secretary was like, sure, I love him. Great. He could just come here every day and eat lunch with you. I'd love to hang out with him and talk to him. Great. You should have seen. The anxiety was like, he was so, and it was like this little thing, right? And it was about me actively listening, seeing if I could find a solution to this problem, even if it's part of a solution to the problem. Right? We can have the conversations with kids like, I'm really trying. I heard you. Now I have to kind of like do the adult stuff, meaning I have to like circumvent people, talk to people, go above, but like I'm working on it. And I'm going to let you know, keep you updated on what I find out, who I have to talk to, right? So they know you're going. Sometimes that alone, like, well, that's a big ask. I think we could do it. It's going to take a little bit. I'm going to keep you updated as we go. That alone, that strategy alone would change so many kids' lives in school. Okay, so now we're trying to, right, what new information do we need so we know what to do instead? Right, because if I get rid of PBIS, a lot of people don't know what to do. Right, right, PBIS I think is just like the version of ABA, right? It comes from behaviorism. And I'd say definitely the old ABA. The autistic community also doesn't like the new ABA. I know that there are BCBAs really trying to change that field, so we'll see where that goes. I know that, right, it is a lot of work to be a BCBA, and you have to do a lot of work, and it's kind of sad that you do all that work and then everybody's angry at your field. So I know that there's a lot changing it. So hopefully we can get to a point where that's not the case anymore. But PBIS right now, it is the case. I rarely go into a school where there isn't where there isn't some sort of PBIS something, some sort of reward and class rewards, guys, aren't better than individual rewards. So don't say, but I do class rewards. It's the same thing, guys. That just sets up bullying situations. And I see it all the time. And not that it's worse, but it's definitely not better. So let's dip into the universal toolbox. So if we're not going to do this PBIS, and what new information do we need? So let's take out our universal toolbox and let's put these things in it, because these things will help us get started on how to get rid of one thing and move on to another thing, okay? So my first universal strategy is ask more questions. I've only had one kid not like the strategy. He is autistic, and I would ask him, like, how's your day, buddy? And this was a long time ago. So now I do not ask him that question, because I know, like, first of all, it doesn't matter to him. Second of all, it doesn't have to be a back and forth conversation. That's not how he communicates. So I used to ask him, and then I'd ask him in all these different ways. And like the third time I went, which was years ago, like I said, third time I went, the dad's like, he didn't really want you to come today. And that was a new thing. I'm not used to kids not wanting me to come. I'm pretty fun. And I was like, oh, really? How come? He says, you ask too many questions. And I was like, I said, oh, until today, that was my universal strategy that's worked every time. So it has worked every time except for this one guy. And you know what? It's because I was trying to engage in neurotypical back and forth conversation, where that was not how he communicates. I did not know that then. I did not know what I didn't know. I didn't understand that that was a thing that I shouldn't be doing. I thought I was engaging him in conversation and I was excited to hear about his day. I wanted to show him interest. That's not what I didn't mean to be doing what I was doing. And now I don't ask him anymore. But except for that little guy, ask more questions. So, right, kid has meltdown. He falls apart. He's melting, not tantruming. That's different, right? So he's melting down. He melts down. And you have no idea why. None. Right? When he's calmed down in a time of, not in a time of war, but in a time of peace, you're going to say, hey, bud, he had big feelings. I saw him. But you know what? I totally missed why. Something happened. And my guess would be it was a sensory thing. Like it was too bright, too loud, too smelly, too stinky, and you were holding it together till you couldn't anymore. And I missed the pieces. And I want to help you, but I need you to help me help you. Like I don't know what it was. My guess is, right, you tell the kid the guess is, and then you say, is that true? Is that not true? Like, I could do something differently next time. I just don't know what to do differently, right? We have to be like really humble and honest and genuine about it. Like, yeah, dude, I'm the teacher in the classroom. I love you. I messed up, right? That's another one is admit when you mess up. Admit when you miss something. Admit when you're sorry. Admit when you can even admit, like, you know what? People like, how do I get rid of PBIS if it's mandatory? I have a whole 10-part series on that. But what you can do to kids is saying, like, have an open conversation about why you have to do this, why it's hard for you, knowing that it makes some kids feel bad. So I don't want to do it, but I'm supposed to do it. Like, and then you can say, like, what should I do, guys? And then, right, even kindergartners can help you with that. And if the kids are younger, to throw it away. Oh my gosh, guys. No, I don't think anybody should use it, but below kindergarten, definitely shouldn't use it. Definitely. I went into a 3-year-old classroom the other day with a clip chart. And feisty and sassy, as you know. So I took the clip chart off the wall and brought it to the director's office, and I said, absolutely not. It helped that I was friendly with the director and I had a relationship and a good connection, but I was like, I cannot believe it. And then, you know what? The director didn't even know what was happening. So, but even in kindergarten, you can work together to come up with a solution. Like, do we keep doing this? And then like take a vote, and some kids will want to do it and some kids won't. And then you're like, okay, so what about the kids who don't want to do it? What about if you do want to do it and then tomorrow you have a hard day, you didn't eat breakfast, your clothes are itchy, you thought it was going to be a snow day and it wasn't, now you're kind of mad, you're at school. You know that your mom's going to be home late and now you just can't hold it together because it has been a bad day. And now you don't earn the points you usually earn because you're having a hard day. Now do you want to play? I don't know, guys. I think the conversations, I don't know if those conversations are hard. For me, those conversations are really easy because you see the change in behavior, the change in a kid's demeanor, and their, like, you can see it affect their soul. If you are genuine, and I always use humor because it's diffusing. I'm also very compassionate and honest about, like, I totally messed up. And those conversations are easy for me. They are probably the number one thing that would change a mistake or behavior in a classroom. And adults rarely do them. I don't know if we don't think we should apologize to kids. I don't know. I'm not really sure why they don't happen, but they are your number one strategy. But besides love and hope are your number one behavior strategies along with relationships. But this is another really strong one. Okay, so ask more questions, be genuine, open, honest about making mistakes and why you have to do the things you have to do. Okay, here's another one. I got this twice yesterday on my Zoom calls is, he goes from 0 to 60 so fast. And I say, okay, I hear that a lot. I argue that they go from 40 to 60 fast. What ticks 0 to 40? Hunger, thirst, neurodiversity, temperament, not liking the teacher, not liking your clothes, being itchy, having a hard time with a friend, right? It's gym day and you hate gym. It's art day and you hate art. It's music day and you hate music, right? Like what ticks? What are those ticks that get you higher and higher and higher? So if ideally kids start at 0 and then they tick, and then when they get to 40, it's all those things added together, and then 40 to 60 goes fast. Then there are some temperaments, like my own, that like vibrate on 30. Like I'm close to 40. I'm close to like to being big all the time. Just by temperament. I work really hard at keeping it at like 10, because 10 I could be like funny and goofy and how you see me. It took a long time for me to come down from 30 to 10. So some kids just vibrate high. Some kids vibrate at like 39. So they're like a point away from 40. So that's another strategy, is knowing what the ticks are from 0 to 40 and knowing that one of those could be neurodiversity. So getting that neuroaffirming information. Number 2 is knowing temperament, because some kids' temperament vibrate high. So those are 2 more. Find something in yourself like the kid that is having a hard time. I try my hardest to find, right? So when I work with kids with ADHD, I don't have ADHD. I am neurotypical, but I have drunk squirrels that live in my head, and that looks like ADHD to the outside world. So when kids are impulsive, so I'm impulsive, and I say like, right, impulsivity is tricky, isn't it? Like, do you do stuff like this? And I'll explain things I do impulsively, and then they're like, yes. And I was like, guys, it took me so I was like 40 to like not be mad on my phone and be like, oh yeah, can like comments and be like, oh, put it down. We don't need to do that. That's going to be forever, right? It took me a long time to not be impulsive. It takes me a long time to not swear impulsively. I don't in my job, but in my personal life, sometimes it just comes right out. So finding something in yourself like the kid, like imagining it. I can't even imagine right now if I was 16 and had a phone. Okay, guys, I would get in trouble all over the place. I'd be doing impulsive things. I would be doing things I shouldn't be doing. I definitely would get my phone taken away because I would have it when I wasn't supposed to. I mean, so I try to find something in myself like the kid, and then try to have that conversation and build that relationship. Let's see, guys. I think the last one is love languages. Let's do that one. I don't want to tell you all of them because it's probably too much, but love languages. So love languages, right? There's 5. Let's see if I can think of all 5 right off the top of my head. Gifts, affirmation, quality time, service, service. Oh, guys. Gifts, quality time, service, affirmation. Guys, I can't think of it. It'll come to me. Gifts, quality time. Should I look? Hold on, guys. It's coming. Here we go, guys. I have here it is. Look, I have a workshop on love languages, and because I have drunk squirrels, guys, we have to just touch. Durr. So like snuggles. It's funny that I forgot that. So like, right. So if I had the parents I talked to yesterday, their little girl's having a hard time and with transition, so they put her on a sticker chart, and if she got enough stickers, she got something out of the prize box. Well, she got like little fidgets, and she loves all that little stuff because she has gifts by love language. But then she would get the gifts, and gifts by love language means you like to receive and give gifts. So she would receive them, And then she would give them. And she wasn't allowed to give them because it was supposed to only be her thing. And now all the kids were getting them, and the teacher didn't like that. And that's not the way it was supposed to work. And I said, well, if you had love languages in your universal toolbox and you knew she was gifts, you wouldn't have done that strategy. And the mom's like, it worked great. I was like, yeah, but for the wrong reasons. She wasn't learning any skills of how to transition better. She was just acquiescing to get stickers so she could get the gifts, so she could feel good about getting the gifts and then giving the gifts. And then she got in trouble for giving the gifts, and she was told not to do that. But it felt so good that she didn't care that she wasn't supposed to. She was just then doing it like under the table on the sly on the DL. And so love languages, right? With little kids, the kids that love touch, because the minute you sit down, they're like, wow, what happened? They sit down, or they hold your hand, or they hug you, or little babies, you have to hold, you should hold them a lot anyway, but there are some kids that are super snuggly, like my son was like this. Gifts, we shouldn't do it through material gifts. So PBIS is really hard for those kids because of all the gifts. And then if they can't get a gift, and then but they think they earn one, and then they can't, the whole thing. Service kids who like to help. Quality time, it should be quantity time with quality interactions. The more time you spend with your kids not being on phones or technology or in front of the TV is best. And oh boy, guys, I have to think of them all over again. I did gifts. I did an affirmation. So, talking, right? Words, saying like, I love you, or so I had a kid in high school the other day, and I said, oh, I was gonna write you a note, but I thought, oh, I'll just tell him. And then he goes, no, I would like the note. So what do I know about that? Because I have this universal toolbox, and in there is love languages. I'm like, oh, he is gifts and affirmation. So right when I hear that he's doing better in schools, which is what I heard, and then I gave it to him verbally, but he wants it as like written down so he can read it over and over and over and over again. And don't be scared to do that with older kids, guys. I'm now doing it with him, but I've also done it with a couple other kids, and they're like, is that note says that envelope says my name on it? I said, yeah, it does have your name on it. I said, it's a note about you. I was thinking about you this weekend and thought I wanted to tell you all the things that I noticed about you. And he's like, really? I said, yeah. I said, you don't have to open it in front of me. That's probably weird for you. I said, you could bring it home. You can not open it. You could throw it away. I just didn't know if it was something that was going to help you, because he had some negative self-worth going on, and I was trying to help him build to positive self-worth. So, okay, guys, I think that's a lot to start with, right? Let's go over them one more time. Ask more questions. 0 to 60 fast. So what ticks 0 to 40? Remember that neurodiversity and temperament do. So knowing temperaments, guys, if you want to know more about temperaments, comment here, go to my IG, my Instagram at Meg Thompson Behavior. Love languages, admit when you mess up, be honest, genuine, open, and use a little bit of humor. Find something in you like them, so it really helps build that connection. And we'll keep going, guys. We'll keep diving into this universal toolbox. It's really important if we're going to get away from the hard thing. Is schools want fun, fast, and easy. Fun, fast, and easy usually is public, and public almost always ends in shame, guilt, and embarrassment. So we don't want any of those things. But to pull that away and not replace it with anything, and I'm so worried about replacing it with another curriculum, with a champs or a house thing by the Ron Clark's house system. Like, don't just take it away and replace it with some other curriculum where you can't think. I want you to, guys, so you went to school just like I did. You are smart. You need new information so you can make new strategies. Without the information, you can't make the strategies. So if you just pull this stuff down and you don't get new information, you feel stuck. So the new information, I try every day to give you new information so you have something else too, right? Temperaments is a huge thing. I don't know how I would do my job without temperaments. With temperaments, you could see the human behavior patterns, and with those pattern strategies just come to you. I go to homes, and parents always ask me this. This is what I'll end with. Parents always ask me, like, what does it look like when you come here? I said, so what it doesn't look like is this. I don't have an agenda. I don't have a worksheet that we're going to sit and do. I don't have those things, because what are the chances I'm going to be working on the exact thing that the child needs help with that week? I would never guess that right. And if I did guess it right, I'd guess it right one time ever. So I said, what it looks like is I'm coming to play. And through play, I'm going to find out what their special interests are. I'm going to focus on those. I'm going to think of strategies off the top of my head. So yesterday, the mom had talked to me about, like, I know with another family you work with, you talk a lot about football. And I thought, oh, that's what has to happen with with my son, is somebody's got to really lean into this football. And I was like, yeah. I said, you know what? This kid has big emotions, big and fast emotions. And I said, okay, well, and I made this up right on the spot. And I said, okay, so in this past Super Bowl, right, I wanted the 49ers to win. Brock Purdy, probably pretty mad. You can't be big and fast in emotion, because you know what? They're showing that time after time. They're put on SportsCenter. It's going to be on the news. People are making memes. It's on social media. People are talking about it all the time. You cannot lose your cool, because that's following you. So if we were Brock Purdy, what should we do? Okay, so I'm on the field. I am now losing. I only got a field goal, and I really wanted a touchdown in overtime. And now they're on the Chiefs are on the 10-yard line, 5-yard line, whatever yard line they were on. And if they get a touchdown, they win. And so they throw it to number 12, maybe, and caught it. Now, what are we going to do? We're Brock Purdy. What are we doing? And you know what? I might act out what I want to do. And then we're going to play it through. Because a lot of kids, they have big, fast emotions. Then kids remember that. And then they talk about it. And then it kind of follows them. And then teachers remember. And now the principal knows. And right? It's the same Brock Purdy situation, but in a much smaller scale. But it doesn't feel small when you're a kid. So we figure all that out. I just made it up. Because I know the information. I know what he likes. And I can go like this quickly. That's what I'm good. I'm good at that. And then, right, I did another one with a kid called $1 billion. If you had $1 billion, would you? And I said, would you move houses? No. I said, $1 billion? You would not move houses? Nope. So what do I know? It's really important to him to have familiar. You know what I mean? Things that are familiar. I don't know. I can't say it. That his own things in his own space, and knowing where things are in the plan is important, right? So, right, if I gave you $1 billion, would you go to school 6 days a week? No. I said, $1 billion? He says, no. What do I know? He has a really hard time. He masks all day in school and then melts down at home. Okay. So we're not going to do that either, right? So these strategies come to me. Why? Not because I'm a genius. It's because I know the information on human behavior patterns and temperaments and neurodiverse information. And then I put it all together quickly. And if I don't get it, guys, and I don't know, you know what? I ask the kids. So I'm not sure really what to do when that happens. What do you wish I would do when that happens? Can you think about what's one thing you wish I did? Do you wish I walked away? Do you wish I stayed close? Do you wish I asked questions? Do you wish I zipped it? Do you wish I went and got your mom? Do you tell me something that one little thing I could do to help? Right? That's part of the I don't know what to do. I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to make it worse for you. Okay. Okay, guys, I think I said we were at the end at 18 minutes, and now it's almost 30 minutes. But, I like to talk. I'm a talker. Part of my temperament. I'd get in trouble. I'd have blurt bucks or blurt beans. And I'd lose them all quickly. I would never get whatever prize you get with those. Okay. So I'll be back. Remember to click the like and click the subscribe, guys. It really helps. It you know how I like to collect friends anyway. So daily I come into YouTube and be like, how many friends do I have today? And I want people to have information. And I think, and if you subscribe and like, then you will get notice that I'm going live. You will get this new information, and this information is free. So so that's great. So I love you guys. I will see you. I say that like I have a plan. Come on, drunk squirrels unite. I don't have a plan. I'll see you another day. How's that? Okay, love you. Bye.